Have you ever heard of a show called The Loud House? It's a series where a middle child, Lincoln Loud, has to survive a family of 10 sisters. Yeah, that show. Well, what if I told you that I found an unreleased dark episode? Well, it happened a few days before writing this. It's a bit of a long story. I was searching the web and came across a website of salvage media known as Digital Fossils. It's a website that carried strange lost pieces of media that were either phone calls, security footage, image, deleted scenes of movies, etc. I have an interest in strange lost pieces of media. I was curious enough to check out this website. The links were ordered as fossil and then followed by the uppercase word or short phrases with a few numbers. When these word phrases were sometimes not accessible and at least to say. Sometimes they make sense. For example, fossil dog 807, fossil help 9482, and fossil don't look 370. Some of these entries of the website are slightly disturbing. For example, a recording of a cat playing with a dead bird. I don't know how the website recovered these lost pieces of media, but it also has everything. It also has every single thing it could get its hands on. However, I stay silent about that. I didn't work on the website anyway. However, I scrolled down after some entries. I found something that caught my eye. Fossil Loud 11. It was rather interesting. It had me a word remind me of the ones earlier that were randomized, but it have 11 after it. It reminded me of Lincoln Loud, the same 9-year-old boy from the show I talked earlier. But I checked the link below. It's on the description in the entry. The description said the following. This is a lost episode of The Loud House, which is titled Enough is Enough. It was meant to be the finale of the 3rd season, but scrapped after its production was done. Chris will be planning another season 3 finale at the moment. However, this replacement is reasonable. This episode was lost for being too disturbing and too dark for the series. If you are a fan of The Loud House, we must tell you that this is no joke. The viewer description is advised. I was curious. I was wondering why this could be. For a show called The Loud House, having an episode like this. So after I downloaded it, I started the episode. When the episode started, the unusual intro happened. Nothing was hard so far. At the end, nobody went to the couch to watch the TV. It didn't like they were there as well, so Lily's poo-poo wasn't present. Another thing that's wrong is that the ending logo was tainted with a color of pastel red instead of orange. The website was not joking around. There is definitely something wrong with this episode. The title card had a black background with white fog flowing across the left of it, with the center text saying enough is enough. The bottom bubbles blue and show who made the episode as well, which was the same as the first 2 seasons. The music was a low rumbling noise that was inanimate, something you may hear in a horror game. The episode started with the outside view of the house, as it sometimes did. The music was absent, like the beginning of Brawl in the Family. It cut to Lincoln watching television. Instead of playing video games as he usually does, he was just sitting. Do you just hate living with 10 sisters? Well, sometimes I do, he said, with his smile turned upside down. But on rare occasions, I go a little too far. I wish that they would just leave me alone. But I can't hurt them. They're my siblings. I want to love them, but they do are like a setback to me. Lincoln here sounded more serious than normal. Hey bro, Luan says as she appeared next to Lincoln in the next shot. What did the platypus say before leaving the bar? Put it on my bill. Lincoln frowned as she laughed. Yes, Luan, do you want to smell my flower? I'm not falling for Luan's flower sprayed water on Lincoln's face before he could finish what he was saying. Okay, Lincoln. Okay, Luan. Do you want to smell my pecan cream pie? Luan said before slamming it on Lincoln's face. I wonder why the description said that the episode was too dark. Luan was making so many jokes that makes the episode more stupid than graphic. Lincoln's face palmed at displeasure. Stop it, Luan. You're not funny. What did you call a boy who was completely white? A flower boy. Luan laughed for a bit, but one shot later, Lincoln slid his hand off his face, revealing his angry eyes. Enough is enough, Lincoln said furiously as he grabbed Luan by her shoulders. Wow, nice grip, bro. You shoulders work out at the gym? Luan laughed at her little joke. Then something just happened. It took me back to the shot of Lincoln as I hit by a train. Just after Luan laughed at a little joke, Lincoln slammed her head, bruising her and knocking her out. A low ambient tune played in the background. Lincoln gasped and stared at the crack at Luan's head, and then her purple bruised, unconscious body. He looked at his hand at fear. What have I done? I never had done something like this before. He looked back at Luan. But this made me feel so alive. For some reason, I never felt this good in a while. I know just what to do. It cut to black for 3 seconds, transitioning to Lori texting on her phone, possibly to Bobby. Hey Lori, can you drive me to the comic book store? Just do it yourself, forget your mom, Lincoln. Lori left the room with his music to go to the bathroom. As Lincoln looked at her phone, but she left it side. Let's look inside, and glaring at his next wipeout. Lincoln shot later. Lori walked in the room when Lincoln, let go of my phone right now. Lori was hit on the head by her phone as it broke with the shatter of glass. Lincoln walked over to her body and looked down. This is what you get for thrashing my won't, you teenage brat, Lincoln said with a silent anger as cut to Lori's lifeless body. Her phone was shattered with bits of glass scattering all her face. On her face. She was bleeding all around her on where she cut. I was shocked to see this middle child go on such a killing spree like this. Why was this made? I thought to myself, and it cut to black yet again to change to a different scene, taking place in the backyard. Hey Lynn, wanna wrestle? Hey Lincoln, wanna wrestle? Sure, why not, Lynn? I bet I win this time. I knew this was going to be no wrestling match, but I kept my eyes as where it go. As Lincoln was wrestling Lynn, he got behind her, shortly after, cutting to a close-up of Lynn's eyes. Come at me, bro! Lincoln's were cut short. I not only wagging her eyes, but bag. I knew something went wrong. The dark tune grew louder. It cut away from the close-up to show Lincoln choking his sister behind. Not only that, but the animation quality changed, looking for something similar to that of King of the Hill. It looked so shocking that it doesn't look cartoony before. I would watch as Lynn gripped her brother's hands to break free. It was useless for her to escape. It cuts to Lynn's point of view as he turned around, face to face with Lincoln. This is when I was going to faint. Lincoln's face looked menacing, cold, and possessed at this point. His eyes were bloodshot, his pupils were larger, and his skin was a tad bit darker. The animation at this point went back to normal style as his face was still highly detailed. Lincoln's pupils were as the reflection of his choking sister Lynn. I watched in shock as her vision looked blurry, and her eyelids opened and closed. At the same time, they have her eyes shut. She was done. It was over for her. The gloomy music shot. The next shot went to Lincoln sitting in the dark. In the dark with Lynn's body next to him. A different low tune play. Lincoln looked at his sibling body with a pleasant look on his face. After 30 seconds, he spoke. Sleep tight, Lynn. You're free. I got chills after he said these words. Lincoln had snapped. He was no longer the man with a plan. He was now a corrupt soul. I wonder who's next for the axe. He wondered to itself. As he looked up with a plan smiled, thoughts came to him. The video suddenly turned black and white. Lincoln pulled Letty closer with a pair of scissors in one hand and glared at Lola with a bat in his hand. He was seen smashing Luna's guitar on her face and about to set Lucy on fire. It cut to black afterwards. A line of white uppercase text spelled 1 week later. It faded after 5 seconds. It was clear that 1 week had passed. It was nighttime again after a few seconds. It was clear that 1 week passed. It was nighttime again when the text at the black screen faded out. Lincoln was stared at the bodies of his now 10 sisters, which were all under his bed. To name at their new face, Lily choked on what to be a small toy, and Lola was cut in the face multiple times. I'm not gonna show the rest of her sisters, though. My job is done. All I need is one more. But who it is? He said, looking around. Yes, it must be me. There's something I must do. Lincoln said as he looked down. As it cut to black to 10 seconds, Lincoln was now seen hanging from the ceiling and his back turned against the camera. I felt bewildered. All the Loud siblings are dead, all because Lincoln has snapped. As it built up to this moment, Lincoln has to kill himself in order to join his sisters. Well, not all of his sisters. Just after 12 seconds, Luan slowly got out of Lincoln's bed and panted heavily. It was a relief that she didn't die. As I said way earlier, she was knocked down, not dead. Her wounds were still present. She was a bit pale, and a bit more blood had dripped down her face. She looked at Lincoln and back to her sisters. which were now lifeless corpses. "This is no joke," Luan says softly as she witnessed her first mass murder. She stood for a moment before leaping outside, partly to go tell the parents afterwards. The camera panned slowly on Lincoln's hanging body. And it cut the feed into black, entering the end of the episode. The credits were an eerie, animated tune. In the background was the same white fog, with the title card black background, moving left. But it lasted a little longer. As the credits stopped, the screen went black. As an echo high to ring about 12 seconds, it gave me the willies. Afterwards, the episode was finally over. Questions started running through my head. Why is this made? What happened that led Chris Savino, the creator of the show, to make this? This episode has something to it. It just has to. I did some research on the certain episode, but nothing was found in the second episode. I went to bed after spending 15 minutes of useless research when no other website has anything on the episode. I still had some nightmares of that episode. Lincoln standing there with his cold, angry, bloodshot eyes, an overly detailed face. He did nothing. He just watched me as I slept. I always turn on my lights after those nightmares happen. I don't want him strangling me, slamming me on the wall, whatever he could do to end my life. I did not go back to the digital fossils for the week because of that episode. That didn't mean I was done with it though. I just hope that someday I'll find endos of that episode. Like, who suggests the idea for this episode? However, here's the real question. How did they get away of making such a abysmal episode?